CBS News chief congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes is following the very latest from Capitol Hill. So, Nancy, this is a big day. Can you sort of take us through what we can expect from today's hearing?
Well, senators have more questions for the Attorney General today than they did a week ago before James Comey's hearing. And so now what they want to know after listening to James Comey is what role did Sessions play in his firing? And was that appropriate given the fact that Sessions had recused himself from the Russia investigation? And as we now know, the president says that investigation was on his mind when he fired Comey. Beyond that, they have questions about this suggestion that Comey made last week where he said that he couldn't speak in open session about another reason that he knew that Sessions was going to have to recuse himself from the Russia investigation. So they want to know more about what exactly that reason was. Was there another meeting with Russian officials that Sessions hasn't disclosed? He's going to get grilled about that. And now that we have this latest news that the president might be thinking of firing the special counsel, Robert Mueller, who, at least according to the president's good friends, the president has kind of soured on. He's sure to get asked questions about that as well, including from Republicans like Marco Rubio of Florida, who said on Monday that firing Mueller would be a big mistake.
And Nancy, how about those Sessions meetings with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak? What are the senators hoping to learn about those?
Well, you know, Sessions admitted those meetings with Kislyak only after he was confirmed, after he had his confirmation hearings here in Congress. So this is really the first time that senators have had a chance to ask him about that. Why didn't you mention those meetings when you were asked about them in your confirmation hearings? Why didn't you put them on your papers that were reviewed by the security detail? Now, Sessions has said publicly that he was told not to put such meetings on the papers that he filed because that would simply slow the process down. And he said that he wasn't thinking about those two meetings when he was asked about them back in January in his confirmation hearings because they were so inconsequential and they had nothing to do with the Trump campaign. They were meetings that he had in his capacity as a senator on the Armed Services Committee. But there are certainly a lot of Democratic senators who don't buy that argument and who really want to know what Comey meant when he suggested that there might be more to it than that. And so it's likely that Sessions will say that either he doesn't know what Comey was referring to or that he can't get into it in a public session and needs to talk about it behind closed doors.
Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because I think people were quite impressed with how candid, how open former FBI Director James Comey was during his testimony. What is the likelihood that we're going to see that level of openness from Sessions, or can we expect that he's going to be invoking executive privilege a lot during his testimony?
Well, Sessions is under constraints that Comey was not burdened by. Sessions is still in the government. Comey is now a private citizen. Sessions was appointed by the president. He's a close confidant of this president, the first senator to publicly back Trump in the primaries. And so, you know, he's got a very close relationship with the president that he is trying to maintain. So when he's asked directly about his conversations with the president, and possibly even when he's asked about his role in Comey's firing, he may say, you know, these are private conversations that I had with the commander-in-chief. I don't feel that I am at liberty to discuss them. And that's a very similar tactic to what we saw last week in a different hearing here in the Senate Intelligence Committee hearing room involving the head of the National Security Agency and the director of national intelligence, who also reportedly were urged by the president to downplay the Russia investigation. But when they were asked about those conversations repeatedly by the senators on this panel, they said, I can't discuss conversations with the president, so I'm not going to confirm or deny those conversations. And that was very frustrating for the senators here on this panel who want the people who are sitting in the witness chair to disclose as much as possible. But there's really no way for them to compel the witnesses to talk about things that they don't want to discuss.
But Nancy, what does it say that Sessions had come out and in reports had said that he wanted to testify in public? That speaks to something, right?
Sure, it could indicate that he thinks he has nothing to hide. It could also indicate that he saw the writing on the wall, which was that if he declined to testify, or if he said that he would only testify behind closed doors, that would indicate that there were things that he was uncomfortable talking about or that he was trying to hide. And so he was supposed to be testifying anyway today before a different committee, an appropriations subcommittee, about the larger Department of Justice budget, but he knew that he was going to be peppered with questions about the Russia investigation. And so it appears that he decided, why not just bite the bullet, go before the Intelligence Committee, where he knows that he'll get serious questions about this investigation, and show publicly that he is willing to tell all he knows on the topic.
All right, Nancy Cordes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.